Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's about 4:30 on Tuesday, October 29th, 2013. Let me read this to you, then we'll get going. The website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. Need to remind you that I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So let's do just that. We're starting out here looking at a 15-minute chart, and I just got a question to ask you. Looking at the last 5 days, does that look strange to you too? Honest to goodness, I cannot remember the last time I saw such a narrow little range in an upward move or in a downward one. It just seems like this has just been so tight. The S&P, if we measure the top of this line to the bottom of this line, it's about a 7-point, maybe 6.5-point spread. So in other words, if at any given point in time we measure from this line to this line vertically, we end up with roughly, actually a little bit less than 7 points. And that's just a really an interesting situation. It appears that the target of 1775, somewhere between 1775 and 1776, looks like that's probably going to hit. And I just wasn't expecting this strange melt up here for the past 5 days. But it's happening, so all we can do is make note of it. Now, I did make an adjustment. I believe it was on this top line, because at one point these were it was looking a little wedge-shaped, but as we made today's high, that now gets adjusted a little bit. So really what we're looking at is a very narrow little parallel channel, and it will be real interesting to see what happens if we just keep going up and we tag this little blue line, this lower, darker blue line. Remember, that line is speculative. Let's be frank. All of these lines are speculative, okay? As far as what they mean for the future, they have a basis in fact in the past, but then we shoot them off into the future, and that's really where you're just you're speculating. So, I took the line that was over these tops and made a parallel line to it down here. And the speculation is, and this is more speculation than what I normally do. The speculation is, when we tag this line, let's see if we get a good move up. Even though we're climbing up here, if we hit this, let's see what happens. We're on a schedule here to where this line will get tagged this week if we stay in between these two little lines right here. So that'll be really interesting. But for right now, I think let's just suffice it to say this now makes 1, 2, 3, well, actually including this day right here. I'm not going to call the 23rd, but this makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 6 days that we've also been over the top of this light blue trend line right here, which is drawn over the last 3 tops. So you can see we are really significantly above that line now. As I speak, by 22, 23 points. So by a good margin, we are over this line. If we look at these three dips right here as something of a consolidation pattern with a slightly upwards bias. Again, I would much rather this have been just straight parallel, but it's not. But if we look at it that way, then it sure looks to me like the S&P is gearing itself up to test something up here around the mid-1800s. Famous last words, perhaps, but that's the way it's looking right now. In order for that to happen, I would want this line, or if not this line, then some other rising trend line that we discover. Because right now, like I said, this is speculation. It's only got one touch. It's got this low back in on the 9th of October, and what defines it beyond that point is simply the fact that it's parallel to this line, and that's iffy. So wherever our support line may be found, this may be it. But wherever it may be found, as long as we can stay over the top of that support line, I think we've got a very good chance at bounding on up to 1840. If this line were to break, or again, let me say it, if wherever our support line might be, if it was to break, then we would probably need to consider a leg down and then some movement up. But right now, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in this little 6.5 to 7 point ranged rising channel. How interesting. So guys, right now I think it's safe to say 1775, 1776. I mean, what the heck? That's only 4 points away. But you know, that is by the way our target from this little inverted head and shoulders right here that was 4 days long. And other than that, I don't really. The only other pattern I see is the one that this blue line right here may represent something of a neckline. And if we measure the depth of this, then we end up with something in the mid-1800s. So let's keep our fingers crossed. See if this little channel keeps working here, and if it does, see what happens when we reach this blue line, because we may just slide on up here and then accelerate. That's possible. So guys, that's the video for October 29th, 2013. Here we are at a new all-time high, and I must confess, here I sit with my largest position in a biotech that's just getting reamed day by day. But hey, the overall markets have been a nice hedge for my favorite little biotech loser. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Thank you especially for your support, and take care.